Hi, my name is Beverly, and welcome to Chapter 20, entitled Marketing Visitor Attractions, a Collaborative Approach. There are a number of encouraging signs that attendances at many attractions have increased substantially in recent years. It is clear that there remains a wide discrepancy between those attractions succeeding and those that have encountered difficult times. Despite the promising trends, however, for most attractions and most notably for small attractions, competition is tight with very few are able to hold their own in the market by working in complete isolation. So, the topic that we will be discussing will be about the conditions in the visitor attractions sector which encourage a collaborative approach to management and marketing, the advantage and disadvantages of collaboration. Also, we will identify those situations where collaborative strategies are appropriate and desirable, and also the introduction of a set of guiding principles for effective collaboration, and lastly, the feasibility and constraints of collaboration with reference to a specific case sample.
Hi, I'm Therese. For this session, we'll be talking about advantages and disadvantages attraction collaboration. Collaboration among visitor attractions can potentially take a number of different forms. For example, attractions can share resources, identify areas of mutual benefit, achieve economies of scale, collectively promote the generic appeal of a day out to visitor attractions. The question underpinning all forms of collaboration, however, is the extent to which attractions can best achieve the potential advantages of collaboration. Given the severe reservations that pervade the visitor attraction sector when it comes to undertaking collaborative actions. Within this context, the benefits available for attractions from collaborating with one another include the opportunity for attractions collectively to brand, theme, and package the visitor attraction product within a geographic area. Benefits to be derived from the pooling of resources, time, finance, expertise, human resource, and training. Scope to reduce individual risk and uncertainty through the sharing of market information. An opportunity to enhance the promotion of attractions and distribute the message through even more complex channels of distribution. A chance for attractions to raise their individual profile, launch joint marketing campaigns, conduct and share joint research, and partake in attraction-specific forums. The occasion to develop more effective collective representation with industry and political bodies, and the opportunity to work towards harmonizing the objectives of small, medium, and large size visitor attractions. Furthermore, both intra and intersectoral collaboration are likely to bring further benefits, including the creation of a vehicle for the natural congruence of tourism objectives between interdependent partners within tourism destinations, and an alternative to uneconomic and inefficient free market solutions, whereby decisions are made that are likely to benefit the wider destination rather than individual attractions in isolation. Despite the many benefits to be derived from collaboration, however, visitor attractions need to be aware of the drawbacks that can potentially arise from such action. Collaboration between attractions can lead to mutual distrust and bad feeling among attractions with contrasting visitor numbers, possible apathy due to the potential tension between competitive and collaborative phases in the marketplace, inertia owing the failure of inability of attractions to advance at the same pace, unhealthy competition from non-participating honeypot attractions, and conflict between attractions with various ownership, backgrounds, and objectives. Likewise, Further disadvantages that can be derived from both intra and intersectoral collaboration include broad unease over an apparent loss of control over decision making, with some partners sensing a greater loss of control. Non achievement as a consequence of limited time, finance, and expertise. General skepticism of too many attractions being involved to achieve an adequate outcome, and widespread unfamiliarity among attractions, which can involve the switching of resources to more familiar, safe strategies. In addition to the above, a major study undertaken by Canadian Heritage 2006 identifies some highly significant issues pertaining to the wider collaboration of attractions. Notwithstanding this, in view of the current market environment, the author believes that the advantages of collaboration currently outweigh the disadvantages. However, progress will only be made if strategies are seen to be appropriate and desirable. The following section outlines a variety of strategies with existing examples of collaboration good practice. Firstly, with regard to the development of attractions, and secondly, with respect to the management and marketing of visitor attractions.
Hi, I'm Janine. In today's session, we will be discussing about the collaborative management and marketing of visitor attractions. The visitor attraction, product, and visitor management strategies. When considering the adoption of collaborative management and marketing strategies, it is imperative to balance collaboration with actions and strategies likely to be conducted in competitive isolation. The first area where collaborative strategies can be adopted is with the visitor attraction product itself and corresponding visitor management strategies. It is unlikely that the attractions will collaborate in the search for a differential competitive advantage with regard to their core product offering. In other words, each attraction will display a degree of uniqueness which distinguishes it from competing attractions locally, regionally, nationally, and sometimes even internationally. The example of New Zealand's leading attractions is appropriate here, in that it is comprised of a group of countries' most frequently visited attractions, which for the most part of the unique and are located in a number of iconic locations in both North and South Island. Independently owned and operated by a group of professional and well-established operators, this example of attraction collaboration, although dedicated to delivering the best experience possible to visitors, contributes much to the wider development of the New Zealand destination product. In London, the example of Vinopolis, London's unique wine tasting attraction, is distinct in that rather than purely being a museum of wine, it offers retailing and merchandising opportunities, corporate hospitality, and the organization of events. Vinopolis 2007 and represents a unique and multifaceted attraction. However, in raising the profile of the South Bank as an alternative destination to the more traditional tourist sites north of the Thames, it can be argued that a collaborative domain destination can succeed. Whether through formal or informal collaborative networks, attractions in the vicinity of the Vinopolis, such as Shakespeare Globe, the South Bank Center, and the Tate Modern Gallery, could develop destination visitor management strategies and cannibalization avoidance strategies. This would help to strengthen the collective appeal of the area, while allowing individual attractions to retain responsibility for their own uniqueness, overall quality, and core appeal. In order to establish a critical mass of profession, it is advisable for attractions to work in close collaboration with one another. Further to the above, the search for standards of quality and attainment of quality assurance marks, most probably from the local tourist board, could also be considered to be an individually competitive target for visitor attractions. For example, the Cornwall Association of Tourist Attractions has for over 30 years now brought together attractions across the country to improve the overall quality of the visitor experience. Having grown from 7 pioneering attractions to over 40 today, CATA has a rigorous program of inspection that attractions need to pass before joining, while inspections thereafter are ongoing. A similar and long-standing scheme is that of the Hampshire and Dorset benchmarking project, which has the collaborative support of a number of key organizations, including the Hampshire Country Council, the Southeastern Museum Service, and the Dorset and the New Forest Area Tourism Partnership. Of particular interest is the fact that participating visitor attractions are encouraged to seek help from each other, visit one another's facilities, and exchange information face to face. In other words, to pursue informal collaboration irrespective of their size, location, ownership, or volume of visitors. One further collaborative strategy is that of exhibit leasing. Although it tends to occur between attractions outside of the local area, it can help to address problems of seasonality and or contribute to the organization of ad hoc special events or exhibitions. Although this approach is only just beginning to be adopted, among historic houses and castles in an attempt of rejuvenate and re-energize their permanent displays. It is a strategy which has been used for many years among operations of museums and galleries commissions MGC 1998. Price setting and revenue generation. The need to strike a balance between collaborative and competitive behavior is particularly evident when it comes to price setting and the generation of revenue by attractions. Whereas initial price setting decisions and the setting of revenue targets are most often individual attraction decisions, numerous opportunities exist for collaborative price banding and joint ticketing initiatives. These opportunities are, however, highly dependent on the demographic profile of visitor at attractions, visitor dwell time, and complementary nature of attractions. For example, very popular attractions such as Edinburgh Castle are often reluctant to participate in collaborative campaigns unless they are very carefully researched and benefits clear. This was not the case with, for example, the Edinburgh Pass, which the attraction declined to join. Joint ticketing can lead to reduced time spent by visitors at individual attractions, impair visitor satisfaction, and reduce the potential for attractions to earn much needed secondary spend. One area that presents considerable scope for collaboration is in the formation of retail collectives and buying groups. Large numbers of attractions, such supplies from the same caterers, printing companies, and merchandise producers as their competitors do, and they frequently promote themselves via the same media. Hence, the enhancement of buying power and the benefits to be derived from economies of scale are a real possibility through collective bargaining and collaborative buying. Marketing communications, advertising, and promotion. Perhaps the area where collaboration can bring the most visible benefits to individual visitors' attractions is that of marketing communications, advertising, and promotion. Collaborative generic promotional activity, which can encourage people to visit attractions in general, is not only a relatively simple task but also one which is likely to generate a relatively quick and positive response. For example, the outbreak of foot and mouth disease in many rural parts of the UK in 2001, especially in Cumbria and Devon, seriously impacted on visitor number to attractions in general. Rather than to confront the challenge in isolation, collaborative marketing campaigns offer participant attractions a bigger campaign budget with the potential to reach a wider audience than could possibly have been achieved in isolation. This can then lead to the collective theming, branding, and packaging of groups of attractions with possible additional benefits, such as opportunities to develop corporate hospitality and collaborative web campaigns. Both the West Key Trail and the Castle Trail in Scotland are testimony to the success of this approach. They also represent good examples of developing an enhanced identity for attractions in peripheral locations. Bredenhan and Weekends 2004, Martin and McBoyle 2006. With many attractions drawing visitors from both domestic and overseas markets, a dilemma exists as to how the different campaigns are to be balanced between the individual competitive and collective collaborative communication. In many cases, it may be that domestic promotional campaigns are handled on an individual basis, whereas more expensive and high risk marketing campaigns overseas benefit from collaborative strategies. This would certainly be the case for attraction attendance at overseas trade fairs and exhibitions, where a number of attractions can be represented under an umbrella or theme brand. The cost of developing educational packs, a very important segment for a large number of visitor attractions, would also be spread across many attractions with limited competitive damage to individual attractions. Explore Edinburgh in Scotland is a collaborative marketing campaign designed to draw attention to Edinburgh's scientific-based attractions. See Explore Edinburgh 2007. With a heavy promotional remit, the development of a dedicated internet site and educational material are key objectives of the collaborative strategy for attractions, which include our Dynamic Earth, the Royal Botanic Garden, Edinburgh, the Camera Obscura, and the National Museum of Scotland's and Edinburgh Zoo. Distribution and booking channels. When it comes to the management of distribution and booking channels, visitor attractions can choose to conduct individual peak season strategies when there are higher levels of demand and adopt collaborative off-season strategies when visitor numbers are likely to be lower. A collaborative approach in this occasion can broaden awareness of the wider attractions destination and encourage visitors to visit attractions rather than alternative commercial attractions such as shopping or going to the cinema. Perhaps the greatest benefit here lies with the potential increased bargaining power and scope of influence of attractions with area and national tourist boards. Associated bodies such as the ALBA, the British Association of Leisure Parks, Piers and Attractions, and the Association of Scottish Visitor Attractions and Tour Operators than if they were to act alone. With so many individual attractions, over 4,500 in England alone, the balance of power is clearly not with visitor attractions. The collaborative approach recommended by the ETC does therefore offer considerable advantages. It can offer the potential for higher margins. It can serve as the vehicle to engender sector harmony, direction, and influence, and it can help to reduce both fixed and variable operating cost. Leaflet distribution networks are just one area where cost savings can probably be made. Furthermore, collaborative booking systems can serve as engines of change and bring virtual collaboration into being. Research and human resource management. Finally, the benefits and opportunities of collaborative marketing and management can be applied to the undertaking of research and the management of human resources. For example, although attractions can individually monitor aspects of quality control and conduct customer tracking studies, more in-depth research programs are normally either too expensive to undertake or too time-consuming for staff to conduct. There is also the issue as to whether day-to-day staff members have the necessary skills and expertise to conduct such specialized research. For many visitor attractions, the human resource is a fundamental component, of the success of the visitor experience. Hence, although individual attractions are likely to retain control over recruitment and attraction-specific training, acquisition of skills of benefit to the entire sector, such as languages, customer care, and visitor reception skills, may best be delivered on a more economic and quality footing if delivered collaboratively. While this may prove difficult in peripheral locations, there are considerable advantages for attractions in close proximity to each other, particularly in urban locations. With staff difficult to recruit and train, cost-effective collaborative approaches which can bring benefits to the entire sector are to be encouraged. With so many attractions relying on volunteer staff, particularly those of a heritage genre, there are also benefits to be derived from an agency approach to recruitment. Not only does this keep fixed recruitment and employment costs down for attractions, it also guarantees a flexible labor supply of suitably skilled individuals for the destination domain. Through informal discussion forums, there are considerable advantages to be gained from the dissemination of good practice and bringing together of like-minded commercial and business development oriented individuals, which may be to the benefit of the entire visitor attraction sector.
Hi, I'm Karen. In this session, I'll be discussing the collaboration dynamic and effectiveness. Collaboration dynamic. Before adopting any of the collaborative approaches to attraction development, management, and marketing proposed in the previous section, it is recommended that operators of visitors attraction consider the likely dynamic of collaboration and the potential effectiveness of collaborative strategies. In evaluating the dynamic of collaboration, it is suggested that operators of visitors attraction consider the motives, membership, mission, structure, and desired outcomes of collaboration. Motives. An understanding of the underlying motives among prospective participants for the adaptation of collaborative approach is important in that examination of motives frequently. Highest past or potential problems. Gives an indication to collaborative organizational forms. Can identify key individuals and or collaboration conveners. Exposes outside or internal vested interest and can clarify likely stakeholder groups in the collaboration. A thorough understanding of the reasons behind the adaptation of the collaborative strategies is also important in that it identifies whether the strategy has arisen in response of a general trend to an impetus generated from the public sectors or whether it has been activated by private sectors' need. Membership. The nature, scope, and spread of participants are important in that they are likely to determine the domain culture of the collaborative form. For example, how representative is the collaboration with regard to public and private attractions, those drawing large or small numbers of visitors and or those that charge for admission? Likewise, we are natural attractions built specifically for tourism, such as museums, galleries, and visitor centers, and those built for other purposes, such as castles and historic houses, represented fairly. In short, are sufficient key attractions included to give the collaboration credibility to scope to achieve desired outcomes? It is frequently the case that the larger the visitor's attraction, the less likely they are to participate in collaborative strategies. This was certainly the case back in the mid-1990s when Alton Towers, the #1 theme park in the UK in terms of visitors numbers, decided against participating in the Year of the Roller Coaster campaign, a collaborative promotion between 17 theme and amusement parks across the UK, from Gilling, 1994. Reasons given for non-participation included the feeling that the promotion was inappropriate, that Alton Tower has a policy of non-participation in discount schemes with other attractions, and as the market leader, collaboration was deemed unnecessary. Mission. It is also desirable to identify the strategic direction, mission, or sense of purpose to the collaborative form, often via the interpretation of the overall objectives. It is essential to clarify the agreed coverage of the collaboration with respect to its span of influence, functional competencies such as marketing, training, and research, and its geographic coverage, whether it is local, regional, national, or even international in its remit. That participating members share a collective vision for the future and the extent to which broader benefits other than purely commercial objectives exist. The latter points is a highly topical issue for many museums, galleries, and historic houses in their attempt to administer effective social inclusion strategies to meet the aspirations of central government. More generally, it is necessary to agree the time frame for the collaboration, as some participants may view it as a short-term or quick fix, while others may view it as something with more substance and for the longer term. Structure and outcomes. It is always necessary to identify the desired or likely structure and the planned or desired outcomes of collaboration. While considering the constitutional structure, the balance of power, be it political or financial, needs to be taken into consideration. This leads on to the issue of financial and strategic decision-making independence within the confines of collaboration and raises the dynamic of inter-organizational behavior. For example, is there likely to be a conflict for attraction wishing to preserve their autonomy of decision making while at the same time participating in collective actions? While perhaps wanting to minimize collaborative dependencies and preserve autonomy, many visitors' attractions will become part of collaborative necessity to acquire the relevant skills, financial, and/or human resources to effectively achieve their individual goals. In addition, is collaboration membership driven by networking opportunities rather than to the need to achieve strategic goals? Whatever the structure, it is necessary to minimize self-interest and fair-riding tendencies if the wider visitors' attractions section is to benefit to any great degree from collaboration. There is also the question of the desirability of having a degree of flexibility in the structure, or the extent to which a rigid organizing committee structure is necessary to achieve the desired outputs. Related to this is the need to consider the intrinsic nature of the relationship among collaboration partners. This will encompass participants' degree of commitment, extent of participation, and general interest. Attendance and contributions at meetings and involvement from key personalities can all evidence this. The cost of membership, the opportunity cost of non-membership, the desire to avoid duplication and overlap, and the donation of subsidies or grants may impact on structure, as might the time scale given to achieve the desired collaborative outcomes. In all of the above, the ultimate goal is the achievement of collaborative compatibility. It is now, therefore, necessary to outline those factors which contribute most to the long-term, mutually beneficial relationship. Collaboration effectiveness. It is in the individual attractions and collective attractions' interest that whatever form of collaboration is adopted, desired outcomes are achieved and maximum effectiveness is reached. A variety of factors are suggested as integral for the achievement of effective collaborative relationship as seen in Table 20.1. Table 20.1. Factors contributing to collaboration effectiveness. The involvement of key stakeholders. A chemistry of good interpersonal relations and the development of trust among participants, a suitable inclusive management style, and organizational culture. Domain similarity and goal compatibility among participants. Duration and nature of previous relationship among collaborating partners. Effective contractual conditions and exit barriers. An equity share arrangement. The balance of management resources and power. A well-planned project, carefully chosen partners, balanced structure, and subsequent high payout in relation to cost. Decisive leadership, sound administrative support, a tight focus, the transparent implementation of policy. Table 20.2 Reasons for collaborative failure. Lack of clear objectives, lack of staff time, slow decision-making process, changes in personnel, lack of new ideas or new initiatives, lack of adequate negotiation, responsibilities not sufficiently established at the outset, lack of capital, lack of communication and vacuum of objectives. In addition to the above, a major study conducted to the MGC 1998 identified a number of factors which contribute to collaborative failure as evidenced in Table 20.2. In reviewing the appropriateness of the above factors, it is understandable that different factors will carry more weight in different forms of collaboration. The following sections will now discuss many of the issues discussed above and throughout this chapter in the form of a case study, and will attempt to shed light on the collaborative dynamics of effectiveness of interorganizational collaboration. Case study: Rembrandt 400 1606 to 206. Motives: in a country where collaboration between tourism and cultural institutions is not commonplace, the 400th anniversary of Rembrandt's birth served as ideal catalyst for collaboration among a whole host of attractions and organizations. At the very outset, there are acknowledgments among those taking the initiatives that such an event provided a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to raise the profile of both culture and tourism with the quality of the Rembrandt product. A potentially powerful brand for the broader development of visits to museums and attractions, and, of course, Holland. Although it was recognized at the outset that a collaborative approach was never going to be easy, and that good intentions alone were insufficient for real progress to be made. The opportunity for an innovative year-long celebration of Rembrandt was believed to be too good to ignore. Membership and structure. Commencing with a meeting in January 2003, the Ministry of Culture and Netherlands Board of Tourism and Conventions encouraged collaboration between parties in Amsterdam and Leiden, Rembrandt's place of birth, to bring together a wide diversity of high-profile stakeholders from culture, tourism, and local authorities. At the outset, it was deemed desirable for stakeholders to be drawn over all sectors of the tourism industry and beyond. Early on, however, it was decided that, whereas in the later stages of the process, all parties would be invited to participate in the defining stages, only those essential for the ultimate success of the project should be setting the structures and goals. The success in gaining early adoption of the generic idea and building belief among the private stakeholders resulted in the funding of the Rembrandt 400 Foundation. This high-profile board, which included representatives from the Rembrandt Rijksmuseum, Municipality of Leiden, the MBTC, in addition to private and independent members, was successful in establishing a clear goal. This was to commemorate Rembrandt's 400th birth year by initiating a program that was internationally appealing, both culturally and touristically. The foundation focused on coordination of the program and of the international promotions and communication, with Queen Beatrice of the Netherlands herself acting as patron for the year and the general sponsorship of TNT, Shell, the national and provincial governments, the cities of Leiden and Amsterdam School, international airports, funding was set aside in the time to be able to encourage match funding and commitment from the partners. Mission and desired outcomes. With a year-long program of events planned across Amsterdam, Leiden, and Den Haag, the objective set was to attract over 1.5 million visits from 900,000 visitors, with 50% estimated to come from abroad or outside the Netherlands. Direct expenditure target set for Amsterdam and Leiden was in the region of 100 million US dollar. Although ambitious at the same time, this was considered to be a realistic target based on the attractive proposal which carried a very clear message. Although all participants were responsible for the contribution their own museums, all parties shared a collective responsibility for the success of Rembrandt's 400. Hence, individual museums were not required to pay anything for the foundation directly, but were expected to finance their own exhibitions and individual promotions. Clearly, the investment of time was significant, while individuals' attractions were responsible for providing tickets, invitations to opening and individual after-hours receptions for foundation sponsors. Hence, the funds generated by the foundations were in addition to those funds provided by the individual participants. With regards to marketing, an incremental approach was adopted, with specific local actions planned for 12 markets. Individual marketing communication strategies were planned for the separate country or market mixes, with the campaign launched in November 2004 at the World Travel Market in London to the value of 4 to 4.5 million. The quality of exhibition and events included in the program clearly had to be of a standard commensurate with the once in a lifetime theme and consistent with the quality brand developed for the celebrations. Targeting previous heavy users was central at the campaign, while much focus was attributed to the use of the websites. One of the issues arising from the campaign was a fair distribution of attention between Amsterdam and Leiden. It therefore was primarily presented as an event in the Netherlands, mainly taking place in two cities. It was also important that each museum and location felt they were getting equal benefit and profile. There was also the constant issue of being realistic about what could be achieved and maintaining the overall quality and consistency of the proposition. The democratic nature of collaboration was questioned on occasions in that truly democratic collaborative marketing activity can be both time-consuming and wasteful. Other issues arising including the fact that to succeed collaboratively sometimes means keeping a distance from some of the other parties involved. Finally, although the foundation was able to generate a substantial budget to fund the program, scale clearly does not guarantee success. That said, it was recognized with Rembrandt 400 that sometimes a certain scale is required for collaboration to be successful. At the end of the year, a considerable amount of success was achieved. For example, the initial 1 million euro budget generated an additional 3 million euro of match funding. Over 2 million visits to museums were recorded, with 69% of all visits generated by foreign tourists, and over 150 million euro of extra spending was generated. In addition, Rembrandt 400 served as a catalyst for new channels of distribution, while it has also generated a significant amount of positive international press attention. All in all, it proved to be a highly effective form of collaboration with a number of factors contributing to its success. Rembrandt 400 benefited from a long lead time which, more than anything else, enabled all the partners to get to know each other very well and allowed trust to be built. From the outset, a clear, step by step approach was adopted that was transparent vis a vis goals, conditions, and ambitions, while everyone was left alone to undertake what they did best. Clarification of key themes and criteria for the program were established while once implemented. Interference with the local nature of the content was limited with individual partners left to deliver high-quality exhibitions and events. A collective marketing approach was instituted with the consistent use of the Rembrandt 400 brand logo as its symbol, partly chosen to overcome different needs and language issues, even if in some instances individual participants forgot to use it. Recognizing that improvements can always be made, a number of lessons were learned for the future. Clearly, the actual form of collaboration was crucial in providing the appropriate processes and structures both to engage partners and to deliver actual results. One important lesson here was the need to ensure that only those deemed essential for the process to occur have influence while everyone else is communicated with all partners invited to contribute afterwards. Overall, it was a much bigger success that was ever anticipated, and this in itself highlighted the vacuum post collaboration in that no legacy was planned as it was always viewed as one off event. Clearly, opportunities exist for the future with the somewhat belatedly being recognized with a proposed event in 2056. And that ends my discussion. Thank you.
So, irrespective of attraction type and location, visitor attractions need to be far more sensitive to the future needs of the marketplace if they are going to survive in the long term. Considerably, competition from within and outside of the visitors attraction sector is sufficient to threat visitors' displacement at ever increasing levels. This topic has outlined a number of collaborative management and marketing strategies which, it is hoped, will encourage attractions to play a much more proactive and participative and collaborative role in the creation, development, and sustainability of the wider tourist destination. As well as to preserve the individual status, what is required is a far less proprietary, more holistic approach to the management of individual and potentially collaborative attractions by managers and owners for the benefit of the entire visitor attraction sector. Competing attractions are no longer the threat they once were. They are now the source of future strength and collaborative survival.